They lit up the silver screen, they stole our hearts, and though they've left this world, their legacy never faded. In this special tribute, we'll honor the stars we've lost by showing you their final look and the roles that made them immortal. How many of these legends do you remember? Leave A in the comments for the one who touched your life. And don't forget to subscribe to Hollywood Rewind for more timeless memories. Marilyn Monroe. She was more than a movie star. She was a myth, a mystery, and a mirror of American dreams. Born Norma Jean Mortensen in 1926, Marilyn Monroe rose from a troubled childhood in foster homes to become the most iconic sex symbol of the 20th century. With her platinum blonde hair, breathy voice, and a mix of innocence and sensuality, she captivated the world in films like Gentlemen Prefer Blondes, Some Like It Hot, and The 7-Year Itch. But behind the camera, Marilyn battled crippling anxiety, depression, and a constant fear of being seen as nothing more than a dumb blonde. Despite her fame, she longed to be respected as a serious actress, and her work with the Actors Studio and roles in films like Bus Stop proved she was more than just a pretty face. Her life was a whirlwind of beauty, fame, scandal, and pain. Marriages to Joe DiMaggio and Arthur Miller, whispers of affairs with powerful men, and an ongoing struggle with addiction created a tragic backdrop to her stardom. On August 5, 1962, Marilyn Monroe was found dead in her Los Angeles home. She was only officially ruled a suicide. Her death remains shrouded in speculation and myth. But to this day, Marilyn remains a symbol, not just of beauty, but of vulnerability, power, and the price of fame. Her image lives on in art, fashion, and pop culture, reminding us that sometimes the brightest stars burn out too soon, but their light never fades. Leave a candle emoji in the comments if she left a mark on your heart. Paul Walker. Paul Walker wasn't just a Hollywood heartthrob. He was a real-life hero with a quiet spirit and a magnetic smile. Born in Glendale, California, Paul started as a child actor in commercials before gaining attention in teen films like Varsity Blues. But it was his role as Brian O'Connor in the Fast and the Furious franchise that made him a global star. He wasn't just the racer, he was the soul of the franchise, balancing adrenaline with warmth and loyalty. Beyond the screen, Paul was a passionate marine biology enthusiast and philanthropist. He founded Reach Out Worldwide, a disaster relief organization, and quietly donated time and money to causes across the globe. Unlike many celebrities, Paul avoided the spotlight when he wasn't working, preferring adventure, the ocean, and time with his daughter, Meadow. Tragically, on November 30th, 2013, Paul died in a car crash at the age of 40 during a charity event for typhoon victims. The news stunned fans and left a hole in the heart of the Fast and Furious family. The franchise has never been the same. His final film appearance in Furious 7 ended with a tribute that brought millions to tears. "It's never goodbye," the line said, and it still rings true. Paul's legacy is more than just action movies. It's kindness, humility, and living life at full throttle with grace. Drop an emoji in the comments if you still miss him. James Dean. Some stars shine for decades. James Dean only had 3 major films, yet he became eternal. Born in Indiana, James grew up with a complex mix of grief and restlessness. After losing his mother at age, he carried that emotional depth into every role he played. In Rebel Without a Cause, East of Eden, and Giant, Dean wasn't acting. He was living raw emotion on screen. He embodied teen angst, misunderstood masculinity, and quiet rebellion like no one before or after. He was a cultural lightning bolt. Leather jacket, cigarette, squinting into the future with a sadness behind the eyes. Off-screen, he was shy, philosophical, and fascinated with speed. He loved fast cars, perhaps too much. On September 30th, 1955, at just 24 years old, James Dean died in a car crash while driving his Porsche Spyder to a racing event. He had just finished filming Giant. His sudden death shocked the nation and immortalized him as a symbol of wasted youth and untamed spirit. To this day, posters of Dean still hang in dorm rooms and cafes. His face, iconic. His legend, untouchable. James didn't live long, but he lived loudly. If you've ever felt misunderstood or wanted to scream without words, you felt James Dean. Drop an emoji in the comments if his story still haunts you. Whitney Houston, they called her the Voice, and rightfully so. Whitney Houston had a vocal range, presence, and emotional power. Battles with addiction was painfully public. Still, fans hoped for a comeback, and at times she showed glimmers of her form. But her songs, her voice, they live on, raw and eternal. Leave an emoji in the comments if Whitney's voice still gives you chills. Heath Ledger. Heath Ledger was magnetic, both on and off screen. A chameleon with a boyish grin and deep soul, he left a mark far beyond his years. Born in Perth, Australia, Heath began acting at a young age. He first charmed audiences in 10 Things I Hate About You, then stunned them in Brokeback Mountain, earning an Oscar nomination for portraying a closeted cowboy torn by love and guilt. But it was his role as the Joker in The Dark Knight that changed everything. Heath redefined the character, terrifying, brilliant, unpredictable. It wasn't a performance, it was possession. Sadly, that masterpiece became a farewell. On January 22, 2008, Heath Ledger was found dead in his Manhattan apartment from an accidental overdose of prescription medication. The world was left stunned. The Dark Knight was still months away from release, and Heath would posthumously win an Academy Award for Best Supporting Actor. His portrayal remains legendary, the benchmark for chaotic genius. But Heath was more than a Joker. He was a father, an artist, and a spirit who refused to conform. We didn't just lose an actor, we lost a soul. Drop an emoji if Heath's performance still echoes in your mind. Anna Nicole Smith. She was beauty. She was chaos. She was unforgettable. Anna Nicole Smith burst onto the scene as a Playboy playmate in the early 90s, quickly becoming one of the most talked-about women in America. Her resemblance to Marilyn Monroe, both physically and emotionally, was uncanny. With her platinum blonde hair, breathy voice, and childlike vulnerability, she captured the attention of tabloids and television alike. She rose from humble beginnings in Texas, working at a fried chicken restaurant, to becoming a Guess Jeans model and pop culture phenomenon. Her 1994 marriage to 89-year-old billionaire J. Howard Marshall stunned the world, and when he passed away a year later, Anna Nicole became entangled in a bitter legal war over his estate. But behind the spectacle was a woman craving love, security, and identity. Her reality show, The Anna Nicole Show, revealed both her eccentric charm and heartbreaking instability. She struggled with addiction, weight, and the death of her son Daniel Just months later, on February 8, 2007, Anna Nicole was found dead in a Florida hotel room at age. A lethal combination of prescription drugs ended her troubled yet dazzling life. She was mocked, worshipped, misunderstood, but never ignored. Her story mirrors the very tragedy she admired in Marilyn Monroe. And like Marilyn, she became an icon of beauty twisted by fame. Drop an emoji if you remember her smile or her sadness. Robin Williams. No one made us laugh harder or cry deeper than Robin Williams. Born in Chicago and raised in Michigan and California, Robin was a classically trained actor with a mind that moved at lightning speed. He rose to fame as the alien Mork in Mork and Mindy, but what followed was a career of astonishing range. Dead Poet Society, Good Will Hunting, Aladdin, Mrs. Doubtfire, The Fisher King, Good Morning, Vietnam. The list is endless. He could go from manic improvisation to devastating stillness in seconds. Few comedians had his genius, and fewer actors had his heart. But behind the laughter was a man battling demons. Robin suffered from depression, addiction, and later, unknowingly, from Lewy body dementia, a degenerative brain disease that affected his mind and behavior. On August 11, 2014, he took his own life at an age the world was stunned. The man who made everyone else smile had silently carried unimaginable pain. Robin left behind more than performances. He left behind wisdom, warmth, and a reminder to check in on those who laugh the loudest. Drop an emoji if Robin ever made you laugh or made you feel less alone. Princess Diana. She was a royal rebel, a global icon. Billion people. Flowers carpeted London. People wept in the streets. But Diana's spirit didn't die. Her sons, her causes, and her image still inspire millions. She wasn't perfect, and that made her even more powerful. Drop an emoji in her honor if you still remember where you were when you heard the news. Patrick Swayze. He danced into our hearts and stayed there. Patrick Swayze was the ultimate romantic lead. Whether lifting Baby in Dirty Dancing or whispering Ditto in Ghost, he had a rare mix of sensitivity and strength that transcended the screen. Born in Houston, Texas, Patrick trained in ballet and martial arts, disciplines that made his movement graceful and his presence magnetic. He wasn't just a movie star. He was a performer. Point Break, Roadhouse, to Wong Fu, every role carried his intensity. Off-screen, Patrick was a devoted husband to Lisa Nemi, a love story that lasted over 3 decades. He also battled hard, first for roles, then for his health. In 2008, he revealed he had stage 4 pancreatic cancer. But instead of retreating, he kept working, filming a TV series The Beast while undergoing chemotherapy. He passed away on September 14, 2009, at the age of Patrick taught us to fight with grace, love with passion, and yes, nobody puts us in a corner. Drop a emoji if he ever made your heart race. Brittany Murphy. She was the quirky girl with the big eyes and the bigger heart, but her story ended far too soon. Brittany Murphy first captured attention in Clueless, playing the sweet, awkward Ty. She wasn't the standard Hollywood beauty, and that made her real. She was funny, heartfelt, and unforgettable. Roles in 8 Mile, Girl, Interrupted, and Uptown Girls showed her range. She had that rare spark, charming but not fake, vulnerable yet fierce. She could cry, sing, laugh, and leave you stunned, sometimes in the same scene. But as her star rose, rumors swirled. In her later years, Brittany appeared gaunt and reclusive. Her marriage to Simon Monjack raised eyebrows and her career slowed. On December 20, 2009, Brittany collapsed in her Los Angeles home and was pronounced dead shortly after. She was just the cause, pneumonia, anemia, and a toxic mix of medications. 5 months later, her husband also died, eerily of similar causes. Conspiracy theories emerged, but no answers ever brought comfort. What remains is a void, and a voice. Brittany's laugh, her tears, her unpredictability, she was gone before we got to see all she could become. Drop a emoji if Brittany ever made you smile or made you cry. Some faces we forget. But these, we carry with us always. Which of these stars still lives in your memory? Leave a comment, a candle emoji, or just a word of gratitude. And if you believe in honoring timeless talent, don't forget to like, subscribe, and join us again on Hollywood Rewind.